Are we live? All right, I think we're live.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome to the not so live version of How to Be a Conversational Wizard. I think the next class we need to take is How to Be a Technological Wizard because we're failing. No, Facebook Live was having some problems.
Won't work.
It just won't load for us. So this is the next best thing. We got a Google Hangout going on. We've hidden everybody else, and we're just gonna post it in here. So if you have, if you're watching this video and you have questions that you want us to answer, you can just post them on the Facebook thread with the link to this, and then we'll try and answer your questions. We'll have that pulled up.
Cool. So, Jess and I were talking, and we want to do a little Facebook Live. That's just kind of how to be a conversational wizard. Just some ideas on like how to have productive conversations with people who are interested in the oils or asking you questions, and kind of what do we say, how do we just work it, I guess.
I'm talking about how to be a conversational wizard, and my mind is blank. Exactly. So in this business, it's all about relationships and people. So a lot of times we find that we get into situations and we don't have, not that your answers need to be canned, but we don't have like any sort of preparation, and somebody says, so what do you do for a living? And you're like, I really like oils, and you kind of have missed an opportunity that could have opened the door for you. So we want to talk about just some common situations that you might get yourself in where you think, oh, it would be really helpful if I had some good ideas on different things that I could say. So that if you're a little bit nervous or you're not really sure, or maybe you're just starting out and you're not really sure what you should say or what you're allowed to say, that's kind of the purpose of this training video.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to kind of take some ideas from Laurie's post the other day from The Secrets to Silver, because she had some really great questions and we wanted to go over those. All right, so if someone comments on your post, say you have an amazing oil post, and they say, I want this, like you told this awesome story about how these oils have changed my life. Lavender has rescued me from this burn that I got from the flat iron today because I wasn't paying attention because my kid came in and was dunking his passy in the toilet. So,
true story.
legit. So someone comments, hey, I want this oil. So how would you respond in that? So you're going to go first.
So I would respond first by highlighting, yes, that oil is totally awesome. Like, oh yeah, I did use it for this and it totally worked. And then almost before saying too much, I would almost ask them, what are you trying to address?
Yeah. So
that you can kind of get a feel. Because maybe they say sleep. And everybody knows lavender is great for sleep, but for some people it wires them. So it kind of gives you an open door to say, okay, before we even talk about specific oils, what can I help you with? So then, say they just become a fence sitter, they don't really end up buying anything, you can come back later and say, oh, I just saw this recipe for sleep. So it kind of like gives you a little bit more insight into them. So you can highlight and say, oh yeah, lavender is really great for sleep. But some people really like, peas and calming or cedarwood for sleep. So, but then once you kind of get past that, you would need to say, yeah, like I can get that for you, and explain to them that you can order the individual oil for them, or you can take that opportunity if you know that they're not, if they don't have any experience with oils, you can highlight the benefits of the kit, and say, you may get. You might want to buy this bottle of lavender for sleep, because maybe they say what they really want is something to help support their family from getting sick, and they think that they've heard lavender is good for that, which of course it is. But there's a lot of other things in the kit that would be good for that too.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay, so for me, I usually comment like, "Hey, shoot me a message and we can chat about it," or I'll just message them and say, hey, so what are you looking for this specific oil? Like, what exactly do you want out of this oil? Or, how do you want to use it for your family? And then kind of educate them a little further on that. And then I kind of go to the, hey, I can hook you up and give you my discount, or like the 14% off, because technically that's what we need to give them. And then I'll give you free shipping because I can add it to my order. And it's amazing. And like what Jess said is like, you just want to emphasize like how awesome it is. And like, you're going to love it for a million different reasons. So, hi, Leslie. Look at that baby. So we're just recording this and then we're going to post it since Facebook Live doesn't work. All right, so our next question we wanted to talk about is if you're using an oil in public, which we all should do, and someone says, hey, what are you doing? What is that? And how do you respond to that? What I, like just an example is like I would use peppermint on my temples or like back of the neck for a headache. So I would just be like, hey, I'm actually using this essential oil because I have a headache right now, and by applying it here and here, it actually helps my headache to go away within 2 minutes, and it's amazing. Or I'll use Deep Relief, and I'll just explain how this works amazing for my tension headaches, or for my sore neck, or for my sore back, and just kind of explain, hey, that's what this is, and this is how I use it. And have you ever tried them? And kind of bring a question back to them so they are like, oh, I've heard of them, but I've never tried them. And then you can start a whole conversation with them and kind of get in and find out if they're interested or if they want to use oils for their family and how you can help them.
Yeah, I love the passing it back with the question.
Yeah.
For sure. I would also try and take it as an opportunity to share what's worked for you. Like for me, a lot of times when I'm applying them in public, it's because like I might have like sinus issues or something like that. Because it's very noticeable when you're applying something to your face. People are like, what are you putting on your face? And so I'll say that's actually why I got started using essential oils, because they work so well for a sinus infection. And that's what like made me a believer, and kind of basically put it out there that they really do work, and this was my experience with it, and kind of my oil testimony, so to speak.
That's good.
Next question. Someone refers a friend, so it's not them that's looking for oils, but they're just referring a friend to you. So what do you say in a text, and an email, and a phone call to that person?
I've actually had this happen a couple of times, and I always just email them and say, hey, so-and-so, or hey, Jane, my name is Stephanie. Your friend, Sue, referred you to me. I just wanted to contact you and let you know I'm available for any questions that you have. If you want to try anything, please let me know. And then I just kind of give them my contact information and let them know that they can contact me at any time. And I'm a big fan of putting the ball in other people's court, because I don't like putting pressure on people like, hey, you need to call me right now at this time. Just like whenever they're available to call me, I'm free whenever. So that's usually what I do. I'm pretty relaxed about it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. With a new person, like I really like to totally give the reins over to them and say, you contact me. But what I do like to do is say, like, kind of offer them something and give them like a reason to contact me. So like, hey, I'd love to send you some free information. Like, if you want to send me your email address, I'll shoot you a quick email with like a little bit of information, so that they don't feel like they have to bug somebody that they don't know for a question. Because I know for me, I would be like, I feel weird contacting you. Can you just send me some information? Because a lot of times referrals will be like, do you have a website or something? Which if you have a blog, that's great. You can send them there and they can read a little bit about it. But if you don't, just saying, well, I don't have a website, but I can send you an email. And that way they feel like they don't have to have a phone call with somebody they don't know. They can just kind of read the information and then check it out.
That's a great idea. So you have an actual email that you send to people that like.
I have like a general script. Okay. Like I usually say, here are the things that I've used oils for, and here's what we've been successful with. This is my own personal testimony of what like made me see the benefit and believe that they really work. Okay. And here, and then I usually give them some sort of next steps. So the next steps would be, I don't ever put like a link, like I don't ever put my purchase link in an initial email, because I'm always like, it just feels so salesy at the
Right.
end. So usually it's like, let me know what other issues you might want information on.
Cool. I like that. Cool. All right. So the next question is, do you make money selling oils? So that's some people are all about that money. But so that's a really good question though, because if someone's actually interested in the business, they're wondering, is this like really worth it? Like, should I invest my time and my money into this business? Like, is it actually worth it? And then I know, like, starting out, obviously, like, everyone's in different seasons. So, like, if you just started out, you might not be making a ton of money. You might be selling a kit or two, and that pays for your order, which, I say yes, because I sold 2 kits a month for a year, and that was my goal. I paid for my $100 a month order. I worked at it. I shared my oil stories, and I talked to my friends and my family about oils, and I got my ER paid for every month, and that was honestly my whole goal of this business, because I love these oils and I want to use them in my life and every day. So I want to be able to pay for them myself, like not take it out of my family's budget. That was my whole goal. So now I'm above that, which is amazing. So now I actually get to contribute to my family and, help pay for the car and health insurance or whatever it is I get to pay for. But it actually is a benefit. And so, you can honestly answer yes. And then, most of us got to meet Janelle, and she makes a ton of money. So it is real. You really can make money in this. And it's, for us, like, I don't think anyone is actually in the business for the money. I think we're in it to genuinely help people and see people's lives transformed and do it naturally. But, like, that is a huge blessing of doing this, is like when you're sowing into the business and sowing into people, you're going to reap that. So,
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you can't lie. So if you make money, you gotta say yeah. So I've had this question two ways. I've had this question from somebody that's buying oils from me, which is a little trickier because they want to know, like, are you making money off of me? Some people ask it that way. Some people ask, like, are you, like, is there potential in this business? Like, can I make money in this business? So you kind of have to gauge, like, just your attitude and how you answer, right? So you're not going to be super like, yeah, I'm super gung ho to like take your money, if you're trying to help somebody realize the value of the kit versus a potential business person where you want them to see the opportunity that exists
really
there.
good. Yeah.
So it's really just in how you approach it. But obviously, you want to be your most authentic self and not try and hide anything. So the answer, of course, is yes, I make a commission off of this. And I think that for a business person, you really want to highlight the enthusiasm and the blessing that you have gotten from the business. So, like, yes, it's great to earn an income. It's great to pay for your oils and, like, they support the habit, so to speak. It's great to, I've seen a lot of, like, small businesses floating around, like, this, like, I don't know, it's like a little meme or something, it's like when you support a small business, like, you're not like paying for all this ridiculous things. Like, you're usually paying for somebody's kid to take piano lessons.
Yeah.
Or you're paying for somebody's kids to go to the YMCA that summer. Or, like, it's like, I think people tend to have this response that, like, well, you're my friend, you shouldn't be making money off of me. Mm-hmm. When our response really should be, if you have friends that are running their own businesses, like, you want to support them.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea of putting that out there too, and saying, like, when you have friends that have small businesses or direct sales, like, to really support them because they're your friends, just from, like, a sowing and reaping standpoint. But yeah, so I think the answer always has to be yes. And I think we should jump into the next question because it kind of ties in, which is yeah.
So I have like our business's relationship, and I have lots of friends who are like, so do you make money off of me? And they're like, well, I want to buy oils in a way that you're actually going to earn something because they want to support me.
True.
So, like, I literally have had multiple people ask, like, what's the best way to order this because I want you to get credit. So, just letting them know, like, hey, if you order it on your account, I actually get a little percentage of what you order versus, like, if you order from me, we still get the 24% off, and it might help me meet my 100 PV order, but, like, technically you're not earning anything. So, if you have friends and they're asking that because they actually love you and they want to support you and they want to support your business, obviously you gauge where they're at, but, letting them know, like, yeah, I do make a percentage, and if you order this way, this is it, and if you order through me, we'll, I'll give you free shipping, or it's $2 for shipping, or whatever. It doesn't really matter which way you go. It's going to be wonderful either way. Just letting them know and being honest is what I always do, because that's honestly what the question I get
Right.
is. So.
Unless, and I have a little bit of a pet peeve with this, unless that person is stacked. So, for example, if you have somebody that orders, especially if they order relatively regularly, and you've stacked them, I always tell them like that they need to order on their own account.
Yeah.
They have their own account, because say I stack somebody 4 people deep, right, onto somebody's level, like all those 4 people depend on that OGB, and if I'm like, oh yeah, you can order on my order, then it basically skips all of them. And like if it's something where it's like scheduled, I mean, if they haven't ordered in like a year, it's probably not a big deal, because they're not used to seeing that OGB anyways. But
for sure,
you want to keep those business people below you in mind when you're like, does this help? Yes, does it help me in the long run, or does it hurt me in the long run? Because you want to be building those legs.
Really good. I like that.
To silver and beyond. So, on the tail end of that, I was going to say that another question we sometimes get is, is Young Living or any direct sales company, like, isn't that just a pyramid scheme? So that's a question that's tough, because it's, there's a lot of like weird negative feelings about that.
Yeah. So like, I've always been like so put off by multi-level marketing stuff, because you always feel like it is like a rip-off, and you're like, eh. But like, I've kind of had a perspective shift from like how Lindsay has started with the Middleman Master Plan, and how it's a referral-based business. Because if you think about it, everything, like every business is basically a referral-based business. Like, my husband works in sales, and he works for a company that sells traffic control and porta potties and dumpsters and stuff like that. So he actually goes to these different events, and he hands out his cards, and he meets people, and he learns about their company, and then he talks to them about his company. So they actually get connected. They start building relationships, and anytime one of those guys know someone who needs help in the construction industry with their traffic control or whatever, they refer their people to Brandon. So
it's called networking.
It's networking. And it is, and it's amazing. And so it's a referral-based business. So if we start thinking this is not a pyramid scheme, because it's not, like, I have people that are under me that, can make way more money than I could ever make, but it just is all about, referrals, honestly. So just letting people know, like, it's actually a referral-based business. I get referrals from my friends. I build relationships, and that's how we get our business. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, you distracted there. Yes. Your phone probably no bigs. So yeah, I usually approach the conversation one of 2 different ways. So first of all, no, it's not a pyramid scheme. There's goods and services going back and forth, and it's just like any other business. They just earn money a little bit differently, right? So Target has employees. I mean, millions, probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees. They have a building. They have land that they own or lease or whatever. They have electricity. They have custodians. They have all of these expensive marketing, right? Think of every time you've seen a Target commercial.
Yeah.
Young Living has none of those costs. I mean, they have, some of their costs of like producing oils and things like that. So they do have expenses. But as far as like their sales, you think about how much money Target spends on their sales and their promotion of their store. Young Living has us. So we are their sales team, because we go out and we market by sharing our own stories and sharing our love of the oils. So that they're 2 businesses that both are legitimate and make the profit, and Young Living is just structured a little bit differently. And then I also like to point out that it's a really good thing for the customer that Young Living is a referral-based business, because If you were to go to Walmart or even some of the online, just, Amazon, right? You go to Amazon and you order some oils and it shows up at your door. And how many of us, even when we get our Young Living kit, are like, I have no idea what to do with this. Like, I'm totally lost. This is really overwhelming. Says it's good for this, but this one's also good for this. It's like, who do you call? Who do you contact? So as I kind of started to get into the business more, I understood this is why Young Living has designed it this way, because this is brilliant. Like, I have somebody that I can go to that I bought my kit from that I can say, what do I do? Can you help me? So you're not really buying, you're buying the oils, but you're also getting like a lot of customer service and a lot of personal care. And it's really in their enroller's best interest to help you. So it's very relational for a reason.
Yeah. And it's so awesome that we actually have that.
Right. And that you can kind of recoup the cost of your time by sharing that. Yeah. It's just like so mutually beneficial.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we have 2 more questions. Someone comments on your 10% off sale post. How do you express your enthusiasm without sounding desperate? Just encouraging them, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. You're going to love it. Just being excited for them, not necessarily about, like, they're buying it and, like, I'm getting this from them, but about the fact of you're getting this and it's going to help your family. It's going to be amazing for you. It's going to be amazing for your health and your household and your kids and everything in every area. So being excited about that.
Yeah, the number one rule of communication, I think, is that, like, everybody likes to talk about themselves. So if you want to, like, connect with people, you got to say, like, connect it to them first and connect it to their needs. So, like, oh, I cannot wait to see how this works out for your son sleeping through the night. Yes. Or, oh, I can't wait to see how this helps your daughter's skin because I know she's been struggling with eczema, or that kind of thing. And just being, and I think that starts, long before you ever put up your post about selling something. It starts with really, like, your basic understanding of why you're doing this and why you're sharing it with other people, because you care about them and you genuinely believe that, like, this will help. And I think that shows through. You don't come off overly desperate if you genuinely believe you want to help people.
Exactly. So, and it comes, the excitement also comes from talking to them and saying, hey, how do you want these oils to help your family, and starting the education there. And, like, okay, lavender for sleep, or this and this and this, and this for tummy aches, and just kind of getting excited with them to say, hey, these are going to help you in amazing ways.
Yeah. And after, like, especially, I think immediately after that sale is really important too, to start right off. Like, I think there's a tendency for people to feel like, oh, I bought this and now I haven't heard anything from them. It's like, oh, I bought the kit and now they made the sale and now they don't care about me. But even before their kit comes, like, oh, I'm so excited for you to get it. When are you going to get it? Check your thing, see when it's going to arrive. Check your virtual office, see when it's going to arrive. Call me when it gets there. We'll go through it. I'll show you how to do this. And kind of, like, maintain that enthusiasm, because those 10 days are pretty important when they are basically waiting for their kit to show up, because that's when you build the enthusiasm and the momentum and say, like, you are going to totally love this, because with your help, they really will love it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so last thing we wanted to kind of talk about is, what's your elevator pitch?
When somebody says, what do you do for a living? And you're like, oh.
So this has kind of been a struggle for me for, like, 2.5 years. Because I, like, never actually want to sell anything or be, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of one of those things I'm like, I don't want to be like, oh, she sells that, and I don't want to go near her because she's going to try to sell me anything. So, I've kind of had to get to the place where it's like, you know what? I do sell essential oils, and I absolutely love them, and I'm okay with that, because the transformation that I've seen in so many people's lives have literally blown my mind. Like Heather and her allergies, and, like, just like my grandpa was here this weekend and he has neuropathy, and we tried multiple oils on him, and literally he was sleeping through the night, not waking up with cramps in his legs like he usually does, and just different things. Like, I've seen people get well from stomach viruses in 7 hours versus 24 hours like everyone else. Like, it's something you literally can see the change and like believe in it 100% because it works. So I finally got to the place where I'm like, you know what I do? I sell essential oils. I stay home full time with my kids and I sell essential oils and I educate people on how to use them and how to use them safely and just how to like basically live a life that's well. And that's kind of what I just throw out there like that, and then they can ask from that like more questions of like, oh well, what does that mean and how do you use them and blah blah blah. Like, so that's basically what I say with my like elevator pitch.
Yeah. I think if you're feeling a little bit insecure about saying that you sell them, it's really good to hold on to those stories that you have that are like those testimonies that are just like, wow. Because sometimes, I mean, a lot of times we're using the oils and we're just like supporting healthy function, which is great. But sometimes you don't see that as much as far as like, oh, I'm not taking any allergy medications, because a lot of times you'll come across that and it's like, this made a huge impact. So like collect those. There's people do that in business all the time. I follow a writer and she said that she saves every email, like every encouraging email from like a blog post that she gets, because on those days when she's like, I'm not a good writer, what am I doing telling people like that's what I do for a living, like that's ridiculous. So she goes back and she reads those emails. So like I think that's a good idea to do with your oil testimonies. Like save those times when you've made a real difference in somebody's life, and like think about that when you answer that question. Think about, what do you do for a living? Well, I help people get off the allergy medication, and I help people stop waking up in the middle of the night. And I think we had somebody in our downline who like was PTSD and was finally sleeping, and he was like in tears because it was so amazing. Like that's the kind of thing you should really like reflect back on. But as far as like practical, what are the words that come out of your mouth? For those of you that have another like 9 to 5 or like a real job, but it's like, oh, my real job, and it's like, no. This is a real job too, right? We're just not doing it 9 to 5. So for those of you that have another job, I have started, because I only work part time, but I have started trying to downplay that just a little bit and a little bit more on my own mind, like saying like, well, I work at a law firm as a bankruptcy paralegal, but what I'm really excited about right now is my essential oil business. I get to meet with other women, and I get to share, women and men, I get to share my love of essential oils, share how they've helped our family, and help coach people how to use them. And I also get to run or help lead a small team of women who are finding entrepreneurial freedom. Or something like that.
Awesome.
So I get to kind of share, I'll share that maybe I'll share like, well, I was a teacher. I stopped doing that because I just didn't have time to fit it all in. But essential oils have really filled that void for me, because I get to help teach about oils, but I also get to help teach about business, and both of those are really exciting. So that's kind of my answer to it.
Yeah, just kind of find like your balance, and like, you can try different things too, like talk to yourself in the mirror or whatever, like, or talk to your friend and be like, does this sound weird? Does this sound okay? Like, do you feel comfortable sharing what you're saying? Like, for the longest time I was like, well, I kind of do essential oils, so and it's like, well, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's okay if you say I sell them, but like, what's your focus? Your focus is helping people get well and helping them find pain or whatever it is. Like, you just need to find what your passion is with essential oils, whatever that is. And it's going to be different for everyone. And lots of you actually work full time, so you might say, hey, I am a speech therapist and I do that, but then my favorite thing to do is actually help people get educated in using essential oils and applying them to their lifestyle, and becoming well with that. So it can just look like whatever for you. All right, I think that's all we have, so we just want to do this. Hopefully next time Facebook Live will actually work. But this was fun. We love you guys. Thanks for watching.
All right, guys. Bye.
I hope so. Is it out?